Hey, welcome, welcome, welcome. It's a Friday edition of Talkback, brought to you by Knife River Residential. Have them install new or repair your home's present asphalt driveway. Plan ahead for your spring projects. Call 532-5250. Selway Armory, located out on Stockyard Road. They've got more guns and ammo than anyone in Missoula. They continue to be Montana's premier firearms dealer. Missoula Nissan Hyundai, drive the adventure in the big store on Brooks with the largest selections of Nissans in the state. Missoula's Office City, making your office their business for over 100 years. Shop online for free next-day delivery. And by Far Side Sign, Missoula's leading full-service sign and custom vehicle shop. Check them out on the web, Facebook, or Instagram, or just stop in on South Avenue West. And I'm spent. that's all the breath I have. All right. Anyway, good morning, John.
Good morning, Peter.
It's Friday. Woo, woo, woo.
I'm excited.
Only 2 more working days this week.
My son asked me to go sledding yesterday. I was like, the snow's too hard and icy.
Yeah.
But now maybe we'll go today.
Now you have like 1 millimeter of snow there just
enough to fly up your nose.
Yeah. Just enough to cool a hobbit's toes, as they would. Just in the last 24 hours, the story that you covered so well on Tuesday, getting all the facts out and talking with Sheriff McDermott about this Mr. Newhoff, who fled from officers, also was reportedly had a gun and ran through a fence and stole a couple of vehicles and ended up hiding in a trailer in East Missoula, where he was eventually discovered. Okay, taken into custody. What we didn't know at the time is what his intentions were. When all this started. And not only that, but there was another person involved in this entire situation that nobody really even knew about until his court appearance yesterday.
Well, I had a hint that there was someone else, because when I got the very, very first report, there was a plural mention, something like they followed them to the, and I was like, well, what are they following these people for? I guess there's a truck involved. So obviously, police were on this guy or sheriff's deputies, I guess, rather, were on this guy before anything happened.
Well, because he was on federal probation. He had skipped probation twice for federal, and that's why the U.S. Marshals were involved.
See, what is it with the probation in Missoula? Like state probation, you just skip around all the time, apparently. But one federal probation violation,
well,
everybody's on your tail.
When you don't show up for your federal probation appointment, then they get a little bit more. They probably have more people, to deal with it. But anyway, the sheriff's department, the marshal service, nobody was injured, thank heavens. So, but anyway, what happened was, his name is William, better known as Billy Newhoff. He was charged with a whole bunch of felonies from the incident on Tuesday, and $150,000 bond. I spoke with Caitlin Williams. She's the deputy county attorney. Anyway, during his appearance yesterday, let me just grab this here real quick. Here it is, right? Yeah, I got it. Anyway, this is what happened when he appeared in court yesterday. I'll go ahead and play both of them. So here we go.
This defendant stole 2 vehicles and, when confronted, grabbed a gun and took law enforcement on a high-speed chase in a residential neighborhood. He crashed into fences and a house, kept fleeing in the vehicle, crashed the vehicle, then took off on foot, went into a trailer, and hid there until law enforcement found him.
Now, the new wrinkle came into this when she gave the second comment.
When questioned, this defendant stated he was going to prison for life and had nothing to lose, so had no issues jeopardizing the safety of innocent people, and was prepared to commit, quote, suicide by cop. Prior to this defendant was wanted in the federal system for probation violations.
Multiple probation violations. Anyway, bail was set at $150,000. Now, when I went in to cover the event, I always get there a little early because, I never know how long it's going to take to get from my house down to the courthouse. So I got there about 15 minutes early, and I sat down, and a young woman and her mom came in and sat right next to me on the bench. And I told the judge I was there, the reason I was there to cover Mr. Newhoff's appearance. And so she looks at me and goes, "Are you here to see about Newhoff?" I said, "Yeah." She said, "I'm his wife." I said, "Oh." And she said, this is my mom." I said, okay, well, hello. So I introduced myself and, that sort of thing. And so so the appearance comes, and then she asks all the reporters, all the TV reporters, Dillon Cato from the Missoulian and myself, to go out into the hallway so we can interview, because she wants to tell her story, right? And she invited the media to hear it, right? So we're getting all set up. We're talking with her, and the first thing she said was she said she had stage 4 cancer, and so she didn't have long to live, and that her boyfriend, or quote husband, because she called herself by the last name Newhoff, even though they weren't really married. Anyway.
Well, did you get the audio for that?
I have it, but it's very disjointed. I mean, it's yeah. Anyway, but what she said was that gosh, it's just so hard to put it all into words. He did not want to. Well, he knew he was not going to get out of jail. He was going to face a life sentence. So he had no reason, to keep going, except for her. And this was her talking. And then she said, he knew that I didn't have long to live. So they figured if this was going to happen, if this pursuit was going to happen, they were going to do it together, and they would die by suicide by cop. They would go out together. And but unfortunately, they got separated in the motel room.
Or fortunately.
Yeah. And he, well, yeah. So they got separated. And then she and her was taken into custody, and they were questioning her along with her mother, all during the time the chase was going on.
Is she charged with anything?
As far as I know, no, because she didn't commit any crimes.
Well, she conspired.
Well, she conspired to
with
be
a known felon
to be with
protected him from being caught.
Well, anyway, well, I don't know if they're going to charge her with anything. So she said they wanted to die together. And because according to the article in the paper this morning that Dillon reported, and in the court papers, when he was arrested and apprehended inside the mobile home where he was hiding, he had a gun in his hand, but then he was told to drop it, and he did. So that particular portion of suicide by cop obviously did not happen.
Well, I bet you if that lady were with him, they would have killed themselves. Well, and the situation would have been worse. So it's great that they were separated.
I don't know. All I know is it was terribly sad. And the one quote that I did write down, she claimed to have stage 4 cancer, and she and Newhoff had planned to die together. Quote, "If we had our way, we would have been put in the ground together." End quote. So that was it was a tragic. It was sad, and just one of those things that you encounter when you go to court to cover some of these cases. So.
It is sad, but it could have been so much worse.
Oh, absolutely.
If police had, or sheriff's deputies or U.S. Marshals had shot and killed him, I mean, that would have been on someone else's conscience. Or if he had fired back trying to get them to fire at him and accidentally or purposefully hit somebody.
Right.
I don't know. I don't have a lot.
When you look at he's 35 years old. Okay, he's a young man, and he's facing quite literally the rest of his life in jail, from what I understand.
Well, he spent most of it, except for in 2009 when he escaped from the Mineral County prison.
Right, the Mineral County
jail.
Yeah, he did escape from the Mineral County jail. Anyway, so he was not facing a hopeful future, and so he wanted to take it out that way, but it didn't turn out that way. So that's good for everybody, because maybe this guy can find some hope, in the future. If things happen in prison, maybe he can meet a group and get together and get some help and that sort of thing. I don't know.
Who knows?
All I know is it was just a very strange day at Missoula Justice Court yesterday. So anyway, we're going to take a break. 721-1290 is our number, 1-800-568-5309. That's how my day went yesterday. So we are going to come right back with more of Talk Back in a moment.
So I've got a number of things I wanted to kind of talk about, which are possibly stories that you'll never see or might not see.
All right.
One of them you will see. I'll be writing it today, but
all right.
Thanks for calling KGVO. This is John. Hey, Dave. We'll get you on shortly. What? Huh? So you think this looks purple?
Yeah, it's purple.
Really?
Yeah. What color do you think it is?
I know. It's blue.
It looks purple from here.
It's blue.
Okay.
Hey, someone back me up here. Blue or purple? Also, blinding. That's what Peter
You're
said.
holding it in the wrong
blinding.
places, man.
I got to do it up high because they can't see my torso.
For heaven's sake. Okay. Wow, that's too much for me. Thank you very much.
Boom! Jay says it's blue.
It's purple.
Thank you.
It looks purple.
You know what? Those Montana Grizzlies, they like purple and silver, huh?
That was maroon and silver.
Is it maroon?
Maroon.
So you
and
have
silver.
the depth of vision
Come
to
on.
tell maroon from
It's
purple.
maroon and silver, John. Come on.
Elena says it looks black.
Okay.
You guys clearly went to high school together.
Well, you got black stripes.
Well, yeah.
It's the black
So you
that
can
makes
tell
it
that
look
that's
purple.
black?
It's the black that makes the blue look purple.
I don't know. I don't know what to say, Peter.
Okay, we're back on Talkback 721-1290. We're having a spirited discussion about whether John's sweater is blue or purple.
Sweater?
It looks purple to me.
It's not even a sweater.
It's a pullover. It's a shirt. Okay.
I'm just happy that Peter's not a tailor or an interior decorator.
Anyway, all right. So moving right along.
Yeah. Okay. I've got a couple of stories I want to do. So first off, an interesting one featuring the city of Missoula.
Oh boy.
I have. I've looked at some FEMA maps. I've talked with a couple of homeowners. I've been working on this story. It's about this area on the South Hills.
Right.
So what happens is there's a storm drain system that runs on these roads. This is up behind Cold Springs.
Right.
Okay. Some of the residences up there.
Sure.
And if you get up high enough, it's city. But you go down closer to the valley floor there, and it's county. And the homeowners in this area have had trouble trying to negotiate these two organizations, the city and the county. Well, what happened was the city put in, like in the 80s, put in a bunch of storm drains under the roads. And this stuff comes out of a pipe, literally. I looked at it. I have pictures of it. Comes out of a pipe right above this guy's backyard. And not into like an irrigation ditch or anything. It just runs on the ground.
Into his yard.
Into his yard, down the street, into the houses below, and into...
Yuck.
And literally, there, if you look at the FEMA map, there's a floodplain line that goes down the valley, like the crevice where you would expect, the lowest point to fill up with water. And then in the middle of nowhere, there's this splotch. It looks like someone made a mistake and like dropped some ink on but this splotch is where the storm drain poops out all of this water from above.
I'm sure that's not a technical term, but what the heck?
Yeah. If this is purple, poop is a technical term. Anyway,
okay.
So the individual I was speaking with actually spoke with a couple of them. The homeowners there, like in 2010, this one of the individuals had like 4.5 feet of water in their basement.
Oh my Lord!
From this gut, because they say that when it's shooting out water, that it's full, like all the way to the top, and it juts out like it's a stream like 3 feet coming out of this thing.
Wow!
When it's really coming down, and then it goes down into all these homes. Now, what happens is because it's considered a floodplain. All of these homes have to spend nearly $1,000 per year on flood insurance. And it all started, the reason and they didn't really know what was causing it, why they're in the floodplain. They just got the home and then realized they had to pay for this flood insurance. Well, one of the individuals, he was trying to build a shed. And when they told him he couldn't build the shed there because it was in the floodplain, and they're on a hill. He was just like, what? How am I on a floodplain?
How can it be on a floodplain when I'm on a hillside?
Exactly.
Okay.
And he spent all the money to raise the ground, make sure it was 3 feet off, and then they're like, no, you're still in a floodplain. He's like, the water can get 5 feet deep here, and then he traced it back anyway. So I don't know who to blame here. If it's city negligence, likely county negligence, possibly, but the city did pay to fix the storm drains on the other half of the South Hills. And I spoke with the floodplain administrator for the county, but they just never did this side. And so all these folks up there are still dealing with this water being funneled down to their backyards and into their homes, basically.
Well, let me ask you this: what would ameliorate this situation? What would they have to do? Would they have to do it a huge excavation project and funnel it down somewhere else, or what?
Well, I mean, I think a lot of these people would be fine. It's not like a huge excavation project. You need to lay a pipe to funnel the water down.
Right.
In fact, if you recall, I think it was 8 years ago or so, 39th was torn up for a while.
Right, yeah.
The reason it was torn up was because they were ameliorating this problem for for other parts of the South Hills.
Right.
Well, they just never got to this end of it. They basically need to throw a pipe down to take the water and funnel it to a safer source like the river rather than right into someone's backyard. This floodplain issue, the way that the city does its storm drains, has been a problem downtown too. Remember, one of the things that came up during the election was the fact that the city still shunts all the water off the streets right into the river.
Right.
So maybe going directly in the river isn't the best idea. They want to clean it up.
So they had to do a little thing in there to clean it up, right? Yeah.
Yeah, and it's a storm drain, so you're not supposed to dump chemicals down there or whatever, but it's got all of the detritus from driving and all the junk
road salt, things like that, right?
All the chunks of asphalt that aren't cleaned up when the potholes are filled, theoretically. That stuff, it all goes down there.
All right. So where do you expect to go with this? I mean,
I'm just going to tell everybody it's happening. I think if it were your backyard, and you had 4.5 feet of water in your basement because the city funneled a river into your house.
Let's put it this way: we'd be doing a live broadcast from my basement with video.
Exactly.
Hey, welcome to my // basement / You want to come down and watch the Super Bowl with me? It's not happening.
Yeah, so I just think it's one of those stories. It's a little thing because it's it's only affecting directly like 5 or 6 homes, but it's a big thing if it's your own local government that's mismanaging, and because it's a little thing, it's only affecting a couple people. They don't really think about it, or it's kind of like that time where they ripped up that guy's driveway and then wanted him to pay for it.
Oh, the sidewalk.
Or that time they ran the street right up into that guy's house and wanted him to pay for it, and then went to court 5 times and lost 5 times.
Yeah.
It's kind of like those times. Except for these guys don't seem to have, like a big attorney or someone going pro bono to fight for them.
Well, maybe they should. Well, we're going to take a quick break. Dave, I'm going to ask you to hold through the break. I know you wanted to make a comment. We'll come right back with more of Open Phones in a moment.
Elena says when I hold it up to the light source, it looks blue. So Jay and Elena are with me on this.
Okay, well, that's fine.
Did you hear us about...
That's because they're not here in the room with me, okay?
Oh, so we did this thing this morning to try to pick who was going to win the Super Bowl?
Yeah.
And I didn't know what it was for, but Billy told me early this morning, bring 2 eggs in 2 Ziploc bags. So I was like, okay. So I brought 2 raw eggs from my house.
Okay.
Well, my wife has these like big organic eggs.
Yeah.
Right? And anyway, so we put them in these Ziploc bags and wrote Eagles and I don't know, whatever the other team is.
Patriots. Whatever the other team.
And we put them in these bags, and then whoever blew up first was supposed to be the winner of the Super Bowl, right? And you're supposed to put it on for 2 minutes and do this. And
you mean in the microwave?
Yeah, in the microwave. Well,
wow.
So we start running them, right?
Right.
And it's like 2 minutes, 3 minutes. And these eggs, I guess they're just so big, like they just didn't pop. And when they did pop, it blew open the Ziploc bags. And the explosion, we don't even know who won the Super Bowl, the Egg Bowl. Oh, my gosh, yes. Because it blew up both of them simultaneously.
That is really gross.
And then Billy had to clean it up.
That is
it was
really
a win-win for me. It was
So
worth
when did this contest take place?
8 this morning.
Oh, at 8 o'clock this
So,
morning. Okay.
This was supposed to predict the Super Bowl. So I guess
it's going to be
the
a
Super
tie.
Bowl is going to be canceled by weather.
There's going to be a tie.
Can there be a tie?
Who knows? Who cares?
Wait, you should know.
Who cares?
If can the Super Bowl tie?
I don't think it ever has ended in a tie.
But can football games?
Oh yeah, football games can end in a tie if you go a certain amount of there's sudden death, overtime, and that sort of thing. But if nobody scores, and how many overtimes do you want to go through? Heavenly days. Well, how much beer do you want to sell? I guess that's what it takes.
That's the whole point. That's what I would think. I'd be like, why would you ever end it? Anyway.
The Super Bowl is still going on, and it's Wednesday.
And we're still making money.
The players are really tired.
And we've run out of commercials.
Even Gronk has fainted. Tom Brady is now 72 years old, and the game is still going on. Okay.
Well, actually, at 72, I bet Tom Brady's still there.
I can throw that ball.
I'm better than the 40-year-olds.
You're not allowed to tackle me. I'm old. Okay, we're having way too much fun here, just on Talkback on Facebook. Let's get Dave on the line. Dave, I'm sorry to make you wait. Go ahead, sir.
Hey, good morning. I would like to change the subject and talk about the Russian investigation.
Go for it.
Yeah, we all know about the meeting Trump Jr. and his son-in-law and the election person had with the Russians, and their intent to gather, get the Russians to help them release dirt on Hillary, which I call attempted collusion. But from the story, it didn't succeed. Well, but there was an event that happened that I questioned that, and that was the Access Hollywood tapes. Remember that? When Donald Trump was in trouble and all the stuff on Donald Trump was coming out, that very same day, Russian gathered evidence, dirt on Hillary, was being released by WikiLeaks. Now, was that coincidental, or was that?
Well, I mean, WikiLeaks was dropping stuff over the whole month.
Right, but it started that very day of Access Hollywood, and that is just kind of, I don't believe in coincidence. I question why it happened. It started on that very day, and there was only one person who, from what I've read, that met with both the Russians and had talked to WikiLeaks.
So the question for me to you would be,
right?
WikiLeaks is the one that prepared and distributed that information, which they received from an unreleased source, the Russians. Well, they say they didn't get from the Russians, or that there's multiple sources for the information because someone had a server running in their bathroom.
Right.
Now, the question for me is, or for you is, it seems to me this was on WikiLeaks. The timing issue of the release is on WikiLeaks' shoulders, not necessarily the Russians. They must have given it to WikiLeaks beforehand, otherwise they wouldn't have been able to curate it and drop it that day.
Now, certainly WikiLeaks could have done it all by themselves, but then again, they could have got a call from someone in the Trump administration says, we need the release today.
Okay, now, if this is the case, if Trump called WikiLeaks and said, drop it today, what is the crime? If Hillary calls Access Hollywood and says, we want to release the tape today, what is the crime?
Well, there
isn't a crime.
There is working with the Russians and WikiLeaks.
Well, that's the difference. Hold on real quick. If you're working with WikiLeaks, it's not a crime. If you're working with the Russians, it might be a crime.
Well, they were working with both of them,
but
and it might have been a crime.
You're upset that WikiLeaks dropped it the same day, and my point is that WikiLeaks isn't necessarily a criminal organization.
Right. It isn't.
And the timing is really on their shoulders.
Right.
So what's the point?
The question was the Trump...
you have 15 seconds. Go ahead. 15 seconds.
But was the Trump campaign working with WikiLeaks and the Russians? That's the question.
All right. Thanks for the call.
Yeah.
Well, we got to take a break. Brian, we can't get you right now. If you can hang on, we will be back after the top of the hour.
Hey, Brian, you still there? Hey. We have the county attorney calling in at the top of
No,
the hour.
they won't be calling.
Oh,
in
they
today.
won't be calling in
Yeah,
today.
I'm sorry, I forgot to tell you.
Oh, well, never mind. We'll get you right on after the top of the hour break.
Kirsten's in Hawaii, and Jason is somewhere else.
Oh, bummer.
Kirsten, Jason is addressing a bar association meeting at Fairmont Hot Springs.
Oh, in Fairmont.
Yeah. Well, Kirsten's in Hawaii, and he's at Fairmont, so.
There's actually a radio bar association meeting.
Yes.
That's in Honolulu.
Yeah, absolutely. We're going, baby. We're going. Go for it. We have to talk about this seriously.
Elena says, with the current attitude of our so-called public servants, whose duty is to protect our rights and represent us, the only way to get their attention is to sue them. Not many of us have the time and resources, then they know it. Therefore, get away with anything that they did or didn't want to do. Or you could just call some foolhardy
And if we
reporter.
Have time, we have time, I'll read this too. So. As a matter of fact, you should go on your Google map. And
Did you know that I've been speaking with Sandra E. Barker?
Oh, yeah?
About the Montana State Prison.
Oh, yeah?
And an unreported story.
Yeah, like what?
Like, you know how the warden got fired?
Right.
You do?
No, I don't.
Neither do I.
Oh.
They haven't released it.
Oh, okay.
But I have some accusations, and I called the FBI, and I was like, I don't know if any of this is true, but this is some pretty crazy stuff. And they called me back and asked me for more information.
Wow.
Strange, huh?
Interesting.
A random guy.
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
Oh, that's right. The guy called you.
Yeah.
Cool.
That's how I get most of my information. Who's your source? Random guy? Do-do-do.
Hmm. When I talked with Kyle Schmauk yesterday about that news story that Rosendale put out, but warning people not to invest in bitcoins, especially people on the phone trying to get you to invest in stuff like that. So I already have that. And
you know much
else.
about Project Spokane?
What's that?
You know much about Project
Spokane? I saw a little bit about it, but I don't know anything about it.
So apparently it's like they're farming Bitcoin out in East Missoula in this giant facility, and people have been complaining about the noise from it.
Farming Bitcoin?
Yeah, that's how you make Bitcoin money. You know how it works?
No. I thought it was just virtual money.
Yeah, but so the way it works is it takes processing power. Bitcoin relies on processing power. And so to create a Bitcoin, you need to have a computer running.
Okay. Okay, welcome everybody. Hour number 2 of Talk Back underway, brought to you by Knife River Residential, Selway Armory, Missoula Nissan Hyundai, Missoula's Office City, and by Far Side Sign. Okay, we are back on Talk Back, and we're going to go right to the phone because Brian has been waiting ever so patiently on the phone. Hi, Brian. Thanks for holding.
Yeah, hi. I called yesterday about something, and that's what I'm calling today, but I found out a little bit more about it. Trying to find out what the specifics are for a protest that was going on, apparently in front of the parking commission. It was Tuesday lunchtime. My wife and I were down there, drove by, saw the protest with placards, and the placard read, God, what was it? Parking scams and parking traps against. And they were handing out some, we didn't know because we saw some protest around at the Wilma, and I think that, it's Native Americans. But we didn't have any idea what this was about, and I called you guys yesterday, and you didn't know.
I didn't know. It's true. So if you know out there and you've heard about this, apparently there were 2 protests. It's Missoula, so I guess it's just kind of
there was one in the Wilma, and it was like 50 people, and I couldn't really tell. That's why we were taking pictures trying to figure out what it was. Then turned on the main and saw a littler protest in front of the parking commission. But I mean, it was talking about parking scams and parking traps, and they were handing out some literature too. My wife took some video of that, trying to figure out what it was.
They had literature prepared?
Yeah, apparently they did. We didn't stop, so I didn't get a piece of literature, but I saw that they were handing out something. But then after I talked with you guys yesterday, I had also been calling around, and I got a call from a local TV station, a return call. And I'd left a message about the protest, and she called back and said she had called the parking commission, and the parking commission adamantly denied there was any protest in front of them.
Okay.
And I told the lady, I said, I have videotape of it. I have videotape of the protest right in front of the glass walls that are the building. And she's like, oh. Well,
now, Brian, hold on. Are you talking about the newest parking structure downtown by the Holiday Inn, or the Central Park?
Well, I think this is the main office
the one with
parking commission. It's on Main.
The one with the lion.
With flat lion.
Right. Yeah. Right.
Well, that's a lion. I didn't even know what that was.
Right now, it's got a big hole in its back now, so I guess it could be. It's like a shish kebab lion.
So, I mean, I don't, and that's pretty much all I know. I don't know why they'd be lying about a protest going on.
It could have been a shift change and she didn't notice, but yeah, that is odd.
Anyway, 721-1290, if you know anything about this, we'd love to get this out. Especially if you're a proponent of this protest, this is a good opportunity. It's only like 20,000 people listening every day on this.
Well, it sounds like people were upset about the parking fees.
Well,
but I don't know.
Possibly so.
Well, I don't either, so hopefully somebody will call in and get some information.
Well, Brian, thanks for holding, and thanks for letting us know.
Thank you, sir.
You have a great day. All right, so there you go.
You never know what you're going to get.
Yeah.
We don't have our county attorney on, by the way, today. They're all busy.
Yes, they're busy doing other things.
Apparently, there's a big
obviously
meeting
there was no crime going on this past week.
There was a few high profile.
Oh yeah, there certainly was.
But it has actually been these last 2 weeks. I don't know if it's the weather or what. It's not. At least the Missoula Police Department, things have been pretty slow.
Yeah.
Other than this manhunt that we had in the middle of the week.
Right, that was on Tuesday.
The other big incident was when someone drove a semi-trailer through a power line.
Right. But that wasn't necessarily a crime. That was just a traffic accident.
By the way, I almost did that.
What?
I've personally almost done what happened.
Oh, really?
Yeah.
Wow.
Yeah. I was driving my U-Haul, and I hit one of the lines that actually holds up the pole. It wasn't an actual power line.
Right.
But it got like wedged in the runner alongside the U-Haul.
Yike.
And I thought I hit a curb or something, so I was just going to power over it. And then my wife is like, "Look, John." And you could see all the power lines down 39 kind of waving back at you.
Oh, I
better stop.
Better grab line 1. 721-1290 is our number. It's open phone, so whatever's on your mind this morning, we would absolutely love to hear from you. If you know anything about that protest out in front of the parking structure, let us know what was going on. Perhaps you're part of that organization. We'd love to get you on and let you tell several thousand people what in the world was going on. So anyway, the lines are open at 721-1290. Okay. John is on the phone right now. So I also got a letter. Okay, hold on. John is coming back. I can't wait to hear what this is about. So we're all learning. This is live radio, ladies and gentlemen. That's what it's all about. Anyway, I got a letter from a gentleman who lives in a senior residence on Santa Fe Court. His first name is Ernie, and he sent me this letter, and he also sent this exact same letter he sent to the Missoula City Council for Ward 2 members of the City Council. This was dated January 26th of 2018, and I will just go ahead and read this to you. Residents and myself of a low-income senior apartment building would like to inform the council of the diminishing quality of life we've suffered from 2016 to the present year by presenting our experience in the following paragraphs. Number 1, substance abuse. What? I'm sorry, go ahead.
Sorry, I know I've been on the phone for a little bit, but just to jump in real quick, a couple things. First of all, there's been a bus that hit a car on the frontage road in Frenchtown, apparently.
Oh, wow, okay.
Kind of near the overpass of the town there.
Okay.
But it sounds like it wasn't that big of an accident. I don't know. Just one caller called that in.
School bus?
I don't know.
Okay.
I was trying to do it as fast as I could so I could get back to the show.
All right. So do you want to talk to Kelly, or should we continue with it?
Well, how long is that?
Well, it's a couple pages.
Let's get Kelly on.
Yeah, and then we got to take a break.
Okay.
So we'll come back and do this with Ernie in just a minute. Okay, Kelly, we're kind of fragmented here. What's on your mind?
I was calling in because I was actually walking past the parking structure the other day and got handed one of the flyers.
What was it about? Please do.
I don't, it's kind of confusing, but it reads Emergency Parking Scam Network, or EPSN. And then it says, this is a test of the Emergency Parking Scam Network. If this had been a real emergency, then information would have been made available through a variety of sources. Have you ever received a ticket and wondered whether it was legal? Ever want to fight a ticket but just paid the fine? Ever called to dispute a ticket but were treated like dirt? Ever decided to fight but felt intimidated, humiliated by the court? You're not alone.
Wow.
So stay tuned to the Emergency Parking Scam Network. Have a wonderful day.
So it's a play on ESPN. It's obviously EPSN, right?
EPS. Well, it sounds like it's supposed to be like the
emergency
broadcasting alert. Yeah.
Right. Yeah.
So is this something that's going on? Is it the new machines? Is it the residential? I'm concerned.
Well, let's put it this way. If you've been parking downtown, in the last 2 years, they put in these new Luke systems. Okay, I know that because my son's name is Luke. Anyway, and so whenever I go to the courthouse, I have downloaded this app, okay, and it's called Passport, right? And it's right here on my phone. And so when I'm sitting at in my parking spot, I can literally go on this and type in my stuff. It's already preloaded in here. I push the button. It charges me 75 cents or whatever for an hour or a buck or whatever. And so that way I don't have to worry about putting coins in the meter or $1 in the meter or put my credit card in the meter or any of that stuff. So that's available to make it more convenient.
You just load your private information up to the trusty people on the internet.
Pretty much.
Yeah.
It sounds to me, though.
Permits like in other areas, does this pertain? I mean, do you know of anything that's going on with I'm really concerned about the residential area. I have a lot of friends down there that I like to visit, and I don't want to be getting tickets.
Well, you can visit and not get a ticket. Depends on where you park. But if you park in the designated, they usually tell you got to pay to park.
Yeah, there's a big sign that says, that points to you have to go up to the little machine and put all your information in.
Yeah, my kids hate me. Like, I will
That's
not
in
pay.
residential
So I
too?
always park on the outskirts of town and walk in.
Go ahead, Kelly. I'm sorry.
Is that in the residential area too?
No.
You can use that Passport?
No, this is only in downtown where there's commercial parking.
Okay, so what about in residential? Is something going on there?
They don't charge for parking in residential.
Unless you're in the.
He's not talking about charges here, sir. He's talking about tickets.
Well, yeah, but
it doesn't say. It does say fines, but it says tickets.
Well, if you go to the university and you park in a residential area, there are signs that say that you have to have a permit to park in front of a house in that area because parking is so scarce at the University of Montana.
There are some other ways you could get a ticket, like if you park over the yellow line or in front of a fire hydrant. I mean, but a lot of it's understandable, right? Yeah. But there isn't a general parking ticket you can get just by parking along the curb in a normal way.
Well, Kelly, thanks for letting us know.
Thank you.
Have a great day. We're way overdue for a break. We're going to come right back with more of Talk Back. It's open phone. Stay with us. Dang it, I hate starting a topic and then having to go to something else.
I'm so sorry. My bad.
I should have just waited. Should have just waited.
My phone lines were going off like crazy.
We're going to have 3 people in here now.
I would just sum up the highlights or what you think are the most interesting.
Well, it's all pretty interesting.
Okay.
I mean, it's really big type. It's not, it's not going to take long to read it. So. Anyway, I'll start over with that when we come back. Maybe. Maybe I will.
Thanks for calling KGVO. This is John. Hey. You just don't go downtown. Yeah, I think there are a lot of people like that. It certainly discourages me. I've started to go somewhere that I wanted to go, like taking my kids down to the carousel, and then I'll be like, well, I don't want to cross. I don't want to pay for parking. I don't want to have to walk 5 blocks to go to the carousel. So we're going to not go today. We're going to go do something else. Well, I'll put you on. What's your first name? Garth.
Is that our friend?
Different Garth.
Different Garth. Okay. Well, I guess I'm not going to get back to this.
You will, just in a second.
Just so annoying. Okay. 721-1290. Ow! All right. Let's get Garth on the phone. Good morning, Garth. What's on your mind?
Oh, good morning. Regarding your parking meters situation, I was telling John that my solution to that problem is I just don't go downtown.
You know that people were doing that when they had the plug-in meters with the quarters, because sometimes they didn't work and they will run out and you have to move your car every 2 hours. The one good thing about the Luke system is if you are at a parking meter and you've used the Luke system, it's not just for 2 hours. You can stay there as long as you want.
Oh, okay. Yeah,
you have to pay for it.
Yeah, if I go to court, I just use that little half-hour free, that free parking in front of the courthouse if I gotta go there.
Right.
But yeah, it just I think it discourages people to go downtown to pay.
I will tell you one thing. One of the reasons why I'm so careful about this is when I was covering the two major trials that were downtown, the Johnson trial and the Karma trial. Okay, I would be down there every day. And when you're in the middle of testimony and gathering news and stuff, you can't move your car every 2 hours. You just can't.
Right.
So I would get like 3 tickets a day. All right. And once you get 5 parking tickets in an 18-month period, then every ticket after that is $20.
Oh, I thought you were exiled.
No, every ticket after that is $20.
What is the normal fee? I've never had a parking ticket.
Well, it starts out, it's like $5. And then once you become a scofflaw like myself, it becomes $20.
So here's my thoughts on the whole parking meter thing. I get the city wants to make more money. They're always looking for money. But the way that they're making money here, and especially with Garth, and by the way, this is the same decision I make many times. I'll go downtown or I'll be ready. It's like an off day for school. Or something, right? My kids aren't in school, and maybe I'm not working because they give us 1 or 2 holidays a year. And I'm not, and I go downtown. I'm like, I realize quickly, oh, it's closed. In my mind, I'm not going to go pay extra to go downtown. I'll wait until it's more affordable. I'll go on a weekend or in the afternoon, and it's not quite 5, and I'll get a little bit upset. What happens is, like, we won't go to the carousel or we won't go to some other business. And what's going on here is, because the city wants to make money directly through you paying for parking, businesses and other organizations are losing money that they could be making.
Correct. My daughter, another instance, we'll go down to the games, and I've tried to ride the bus. That's a thing in its own, getting to a Grizz game. But my daughter applied for a job at the food court at the university. And, at the university, how hard it is to park. She had to pay $1 for an hour.
Yeah, no kidding.
For her interview. But when they get hired, they either have to buy that monthly permit for $100 or they have to pay $1 an hour to go to work. So she didn't take the job. Well,
my wife works there, and she parks a couple blocks away and walks in. There's ways around the system.
Oh, I know. All right, guys. You have a good day.
Thanks for the call. Appreciate it, Garth. All right, 721-1290 is our number. We're up against a break. When we come back, I'm going to read this letter.
Peter desperately wants to go to an old folks' home.
Well, no, this is important. I mean, what this man is complaining about, he's complaining about it to his city councilors, all right? And I'm assuming he's already complained about it to the people who run. This is supposed to be a senior living facility, right? So what do you hear what the complaints are all about? So we're going to come right back after this break. I promise you, and share this. We'll be right back. I've already put all the music in till the end of the hour. I don't have to go looking for that. I have exciting plans when I get to work at 10 o'clock. I'm reading. I'm going to go once every couple of weeks. Treat myself to some chicken strips. Yeah,
that's the primo. Huh?
What I'm talking about, baby. I have a $5 bill burning a hole in my pocket.
Are chicken strips at
Hoagieville
better than other places?
Really, really good. Yeah, they're really good. They used to be huge, but they're smaller now. But they're still good.
Did you eat all the big chickens?
I don't know.
Is it the spice on them that you like?
No, it just tastes good. Because they, by the way, Hoagieville has the best ranch dip to go with it. Oh, for their hoagie fries and stuff like that.
You should get Hoagieville to like sponsor you.
No. I'm a purist. I'm going to pay for my Hoagieville.
But what about your ranch dip?
The ranch dip is a different story. Samples? I would happily steal that recipe. It used to be they had the ranch dressing dispenser out there by the mall entrance. What people were doing, it was so good. People were coming in and grabbing 5 or 6 of those little plastic cups and pumping a whole bunch of ranch dressing and take it off without buying anything. And so they moved all the ranch dressing back inside. So if you have to request ranch dressing with your meal now.
Oh,
ranch dressing thieves. Shame on you people.
I got so mad at Costco. They have those chicken bakes that we'd sometimes get, right?
Yeah.
And I used to ask for Caesar salad dressing. Oh, no, they used to have it.
Right.
And I would dip into the Caesar salad dressing. I really liked that. Well, they stopped letting us have that. And now you can't even get Caesar salad dressing unless you actually order a salad.
How unreasonable can you get? What's the matter with you people? Okay, we're back on Talkback 721-1290. Okay, go ahead, John.
Real quick.
What do you
We'll go
got?
to your story.
Never mind. I'm going home.
No.
What? What is it?
Please.
What is it?
Okay, just one more comment from Greg on the parking meters.
All right.
And then we're done. No more parking meters. We're going to the old folks home after this. Greg says,
it's not an old folks home, for crying out loud.
It's a retirement
Go
community.
ahead. Whatever.
Okay. Greg writes, in regard, I can't stop laughing. In regards to the callers talking about parking meters, we forget this city is no different from a 5-year-old. Offer a suggestion. They put their hands over their ears, tell them to clean their room, i.e. fix the city, then they'll throw a tantrum. Suggest that they put money in the piggy bank, and you've got a tantrum on your hands. It's not really the child that's the problem, it's the parents. I think it's maybe the voters.
Right.
Yeah. By the way, I have asked the city,
yes,
is there a possible future where we don't pay for parking downtown? And they laughed and said, no.
They said absolutely not.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah. Anyway, so, okay, this is a letter from Ernie, who lives at a retirement facility on Santa Fe Court, which is off West Broadway. Okay? All right, set. Addressing Ward 2 members of the Missoula City Council, residents and myself of a low-income senior apartment building would like to inform the council of the diminishing quality of life we've suffered from 2016 to the present by presenting our experience in the following paragraphs. Number 1, substance abuse. There are residents who roam the halls completely stoned out of their minds, speaking incoherently and smelling badly of marijuana to the point that it affects the health of others. We as residents don't have the education or the skills to help these people who abuse their medical prescriptions or other drugs, and as a senior residence, there is no counseling to help them here. We do care for their health and well-being and hope they're placed in a home that can give them counsel on the road to a healthier life. Number 2, alcoholism. Those residents that return home from happy hour or remain in the happy hour mode after getting home have emptied their stomachs near or at the apartment's entryway. They can be clearly heard in their own apartments, emptying their stomachs again and again. Then in the following days, taking their vomit-soaked clothes with all the other waste and wash them in the public washers and dryers. Needless to say, this is a huge health risk for the remaining residents. All right. Anger management. There is and have been residents who seemed unable to control their anger, often resulting in their getting right in the person's face and not letting up their verbal abuse to the victim until they're completely satisfied with this disturbing behavior. One man who once lived here made females his likely target of choice. He would walk away thinking he did some great thing, giving no remorse or apology. This left all those who saw the verbal abuse shocked and in fear. Number 4, mental illness. There have been and there are persons who live here that have done the following things. The manager who risked her safety by taking a knife from a resident who used this knife to cut down plants that were planted during the remodel. The same resident had no problem talking nonstop about sex to either males or females. A resident insisting people are going into her apartment, taking her medication, controlling the apartment hallway cameras, being followed, hearing voices. Anyway, others taking personal items displayed outside her hallway doors that were there for months without any problems. Some items were found in the dumpster or gone forever. So, residents here who struggle with their disabilities daily completely understand and are thankful for the love and care we received and feel from loved ones and friends. We only wish the same care for these persons mentioned in the above paragraphs receive the medical help that they need. We are asking the council to consider our safety and health as you would consider your parents' or grandparents' safety and health as they fulfill their remaining senior years. So, there you go.
What is the council going to do? I mean, what could they do? Start up pay for a facility to treat mental illness? Or
well, I would imagine
addiction.
I would imagine. By the way, I went on Google Maps and I found it looks like from the outside, it looks like a really nice facility because it says right there, retirement type residential facility. And so I'm sure that there are federal and state agencies that, manage these sorts of things. And you're shaking your head. What?
I mean, it's just a fact of life in Montana. I've grown very skeptical that there are federal and state agencies that can take care of addiction and mental illness.
Right.
There might be some if you have the money or if you commit a bad enough crime to get shoved into one. But for most of the general public, and your big issue is vomiting on yourself, like I don't know if there's treatment necessarily accessible.
Let's put it this way, is this just everyday life for people who live in a retirement facility?
I don't know.
Okay. Now I don't, and I hope I never do. Okay. But I'm just wondering if this is a common occurrence in these senior resident homes. Now, as far as I know, this is not a memory care facility or a special care facility. This is just a retirement, a home for folks who, can't afford to keep their house or whatever.
Real quick, I called it an old folks home.
Yes.
You got upset when I said that. Is the retirement home preferred?
I would prefer, especially since I'm getting older now, John, old folks home. You're looking to be like, see you, Peter.
Okay. I apologize.
The older you get, Mr. Gray-bearded man, you will understand.
A wise person's home.
Yes, and some of those folks are probably veterans and good folks. Anyway, let's get John on the line. Hi, John. You're on Talkback. Go ahead.
So I wanted to point out the fact that there's some problems as far as the management side with why these people get stuck there for so long. When you start getting Medicare and Medicaid involved, they won't just let you kick them out, and you have to be able to place them somewhere else a lot of times before you can move a resident out, which is part of the reason they can be there for 2, 3, 6 months, a year.
Right.
Before, said troublemaker who needs to go somewhere else finally gets the help they need by going somewhere else.
Mm-hmm. Well, and I would say this is off of Broadway.
It's off of West Broadway.
It's possible some of these people vomiting and causing a ruckus aren't even residents. I know people that have businesses off of Broadway that deal with this sort of stuff on a regular basis. And it's not, that obviously no one lives at their business.
So they're supposedly the part of the homeless population.
Or just
or transients or whatever.
Or maybe someone that was out late night drinking. I don't know.
Yeah.
Unruly college kids.
I don't believe they're college kids. No, I don't believe they are.
They seem to be, they're professionals at drinking, I guess you could say.
Anyway.
Thanks for your call.
Thanks for the call, man. Appreciate it. All right, 721-1290. That's, whenever you're dealing with Medicare and Medicaid, I am telling you, okay,
trust me, he knows.
I'm just going to tell you a quick story.
Okay.
All right? And then we're going to take a break. Thank heavens. I'll be turning 65 this year. Everybody and their dog knows I'm turning 65 this year. I get maybe 10 pieces of mail a week, okay, from this insurance company and that insurance company saying, you need to get Medicare now and all this kind of stuff because we're the only ones that can save you money. And then, but the worst ones is when people call. And they say, may I speak with Peter, please? I said, this is he. Yeah, this is Joe Schmo with ABC Insurance Company. And I said, I want to talk to you about your turning 65 this year. I said, pardon me, how the hell do you know I'm turning 65 this year? And who the hell are you?
Well, we noticed by the coloration of your hair, sir.
And so I immediately stopped them. But I didn't say that to them. I'm thinking it, but I didn't say it. So what I do say is, hold on just a second. Now, your name is Bill or Bob. Bob, hey, listen, have I solicited this call from you? In other words, you know, is this something that I called and you're returning my call? No, this is just part of my job. I said, well, you know what? Until I decide what to do, I will make that decision. So please don't ever call me again. And then I hang up.
Now, are they calling on your home phone or your
Calling
cell phone?
on my home phone.
See, that's how you can tell if someone's 65 or not.
Because I have a landline. You want to know why I have a landline, John?
Your business. I know.
Because I need to do news calls and stuff like that. Anyway, 721-1290 is our number. Oh, we'll be right back. Stay with us. If I didn't have to do this. No.
You don't get anything from?
No.
Huh?
No. The only reason I have a landline is to do news calls.
Huh.
That's it. Because whenever I do a cell phone call, it just sounds like
bad.
crap. It's horrible. So anyway. So I make it a tax deduction.
Like your garage door.
My garage door.
Didn't you have like the heated garage thing?
Oh, yeah.
You're like, I'm getting in on the Obama money.
Sorry, you don't have a heated garage, sir. Well, I could start a fire in there.
When my son visits, I make him sleep out here. Does that count?
I could start a fire in my garage. It's warm now.
Hey, thanks for calling KGVO. This is John. Hey, Garth. We'll get you on track.
Do you want to do the
Garth?
Do you want to do the guy getting kicked off?
Oh, we can do that if you want.
It's hilarious.
I have two clips with Wolf.
Okay.
One is
Mika versus Michael Wolf, and then Bill Maher. Bill Maher. Oh, yeah. 721-1290 is our number, 1-800-568-5309. This is Talkback, and it's open phones, and so on we go. Garth, good morning. You're on Talkback. Go ahead.
Yeah, it's a complete change of subject, but maybe you can help me at probably my old age, like you'll get to eventually. But
okay.
On the talk shows that we hear on KMPT, are any of them live that we hear, or are they all recorded?
Oh, yeah. Well, the talk shows, they're national shows.
Yeah, I realize that. But are they? But
some of them
are. Are they live?
Some of them are, but some of them aren't.
Could
like, for
a little bit louder, please.
Some of them are playing at their live time, and some of them are not.
How do you know? I mean, how do I know?
Well, you don't. That's just it. For instance, Glenn Beck, who is on from 4 o'clock.
Yes.
His show is actually on in the morning, and it's pre-recorded and played back on the satellite.
Okay. What about Mike Gallagher? I listen to him religiously.
I do not know. I don't know whether that's live or not. And the reason the technology is so good right now that you really can't tell.
Well, except for you hear him talking about a topic from the day before.
Yeah, that's true. Yeah.
And Michael Gallagher, he's on, but it's pretty late. So, which I hear him, and but
I'll tell you the reason why that's like that, Garth. So what happens is you become a decent talk show, you get a prime spot, right? So what happens is you've got like 10 or 11, good talk shows going on nationally that are worth syndicating here in Missoula, and they all happen at the same time. So yeah, one person gets to go live, and on KGVO, for example, that's Rush Limbaugh. He gets to go live.
Yeah.
So does Sean Hannity.
But other people are kind of pushed to other time slots because
okay. I don't want to tie you up here. Let somebody else get in. I guess maybe a computer where it shows their time or something, that would show it as the time that the show is on. I guess maybe that'll work.
You could go look them up online.
Well, okay. As far as you know, that what you told me what was actually live. That's somebody else on. Okay, thank you.
Well, you know what, Garth? The one thing you can always be sure of, John and I are live.
Well, that's
We're not necessarily alive, but we are live. Thanks for the call, man.
Yeah, goodbye.
Take care. All right. There, yeah. 721-1290 is our number. Now, something that just happened yesterday has been causing quite a bit of stir, I understand.
Well, it's happened a couple. Well, the original sin for what we're going to talk about now, it happened a while ago.
Okay.
It actually happened on the Bill Maher show. It was his first show of the year, I believe.
Okay, right.
And here's the clip. This is Bill Maher talking with Michael Wolff. Wolff is the one that wrote the book Fire and Fury,
right?
Which, if you haven't read it, you might have heard it if you were one of the smallest listening audience for the Grammys recently, because Hillary Clinton read a section of it. Yeah. Well, during his interview with Bill Maher, Wolff kind of hinted that there was this explosive story that he couldn't really go into detail because he didn't have all the information.
Okay.
And it relates. Well, here's the clip.
Here we go.
There is something in the book that I was absolutely sure of, but it was so incendiary that I just didn't have the ultimate proof.
God, considering what he's done, what is it, a woman thing?
Well, I didn't have the blue dress.
No, is it about a woman?
It is.
Oh, it is.
It is. Read between the lines.
What lines? Tell us the line. You say it's in the book.
It's toward the end of the book.
Okay, well, it's in the book, then we go.
Yeah, you just have to. You'll know it.
You have to go buy the book.
Now that I've told you, when you hit that paragraph, you're going to say bingo.
Okay.
Okay. So in the actual book, he mentions that Nikki Haley was on the flights often or a lot of times.
Right.
And then later, Nikki Haley came out and she made this long statement, which I've heard, but I could not find the audio for it.
Right.
But she basically said it's not true. I've only been on Air Force One once, wasn't taking a lot of flights. Michael Wolff basically made this up. And the rest of the media has kind of come back on Michael Wolff for insinuating that Nikki Haley was having a love affair with Donald Trump. Nikki Haley, by the way, is our UN secretary.
Yeah, right.
Anyway, so Wolff is kind of getting browbeat. Here's him on with Mika Brzezinski, pretty prominent on the left, on MSNBC.
Yeah, on Morning Joe.
On Morning Joe.
Yeah.
And here she is kind of taking Wolff on.
By the way, there's no BS on Morning Joe. Here we go. How do you like it so far? Okay, here we go.
He knew everything.
Susan. You made some news this weekend talking about things you didn't know firsthand, saying you believed it was true, but you had no proof that the president had an affair with someone in his administration.
Yes.
That's pretty much what you said. Then you kind of led and indicated if you follow the breadcrumbs, you can figure out who it was. After a lot of rumors came out, it was speculation that you meant Nikki Haley, and you said she's embraced it. Don't you find that absolutely irresponsible at this point in time where we are? When you're talking about a woman who's a high-profile woman in the Trump administration,
let me
to go after her without any evidence, without any facts, it just seems that it is so irresponsible.
Well, first thing, I didn't go after her, and secondly, what I meant was I found it puzzling that she would deny something she was not accused of.
Wait a minute. Can I just step in here? Let's put this next question in the entire credibility of your book, which was written really quickly.
Excuse me.
Your book.
Yes.
Let's put it on this next question. Do you regret inferring anything about Nikki Haley?
I didn't infer anything about Nikki Haley. What I inferred was that the president is that many of the people around the president believe he is still involved with various women.
No, but you said she spent a lot of time in private time with.
That's exactly what people report. And specifically, that was about her bid to become the Secretary of State. So everywhere in the White House, they were suddenly in quite a panic that this was actually happening,
Michael,
which is why they pushed Pompeo out.
She has embraced it. I'm going to go as far as to say that you might be having a fun time playing a little game, dancing around this, but you're slurring a woman. It's disgraceful.
Mika, again, she has been accused of nothing. She has decided to deny what she has not been accused of.
Right.
Certainly, I didn't accuse her of this.
Mm-hmm.
So wait, are you suggesting that the language is not ambiguous in any way in the things that you've said and the way you've stated it?
Are you kidding? You're on the set of Morning Joe. We don't BS here.
Sorry. Read me the language.
All right, there you go.
Are you kidding me? I'm not reading you anything.
Play the Bill Maher.
If you don't get it, if you don't get what we're talking about, I'm sorry. This is awkward. You're here on the set with us, but we're done. Michael Wolff, thank you. We're going to go to break now.
And then she holds her hand up to the camera and she puts like the close it.
Right.
You like cut it.
Wow. So Michael Wolff is
he kind of got run out of town there.
Yeah, I didn't see a rail, but there could have been one underneath there.
And you should have seen his face during that.
I'll bet.
It was a little blustery.
You can't do that to me. Anyway, we're going to come right back with more of Talk Back in a moment. It's Open Phones.
Apparently the memo has been released.
Has it?
I can't find it anywhere. But apparently it has been released.
You said what did you say was on BuzzFeed?
No, that's what I thought was. It was a different memo though. It was not the one that it wasn't the Nunes memo.
Ooh, comes up to 20 or 49% of
Almost half, like me.
Is the memo released developing? A year after Obama, Democrats still looking for replacement. Confused Pelosi says Bush again for the 6th time.
Oh, really? She really likes
Nancy.
Those were the years, my friends.
Hey, what's on your mind this morning? 721-1290 is our number. It's Open Phones, and all 4 lines are open. 721-1290. Oh, one's ringing right there. Yeah, so we've had a great time so far this morning. We have Open Phones, so if there's anything on your mind this morning, we'd love to hear from you. John's on the phone right now, and so is
Hunter.
Hunter, good morning, Hunter. What's up?
Well, earlier this week, I guess a gentleman named Harry called in and about talking about the border and drug trafficking and everything. And then I think I can't remember if it was Peter or John who asked, well, what is his solution to the problem? And I mean, my thoughts on this, and just with my studies, just the main solution to drug trafficking, crime of any sort in this country or anywhere, it just boils down to parenting. And then for sure, culture, and the culture change. As an example, this weekend we're all looking forward to the Super Bowl, but mostly what's on a lot of adults' minds is drinking and watching the game and, hoo-hawing. So that's just what I have to say. Thanks.
Okay. Well,
I mean, obviously.
Thanks for the call.
Yeah, you're right that you got to either cure the supply or the demand. If there's a demand, though, and there's money to be made, there will be a supply.
Yes, that is human nature. If there is a demand for a product, even if it's illegal, the Depression was when they outlawed alcohol. I mean,
there was still a supply now, but the thing is, during that
Prohibition,
period, during Prohibition, there was less supply than there is today,
right?
And that's the question: is it worth having the laws in place that clamp down on supply?
Let me ask you something. I'm asking you, John King, for your opinion. what would happen if the federal government said the war on drugs has been a complete failure? We have not been able to cure all this through our jails are full of drug offenders. We're just going to legalize everything from soup to nuts, whatever it might be, heroin, methamphetamine, If you want to take it, you take it. But you know what? There are no more programs to help you. You are on your own. If you choose to become an alcoholic or a drug addict or whatever, it's on you. The society is no longer going to take care of you, all right? And if you are caught doing a crime, you will be punished. So I'm just wondering.
So you're asking me if I think we should just let everybody out of prison?
Well, no. What I'm saying is starting today. If I'm not promoting this, I'm just saying, what would the reaction be if they said, okay, from here on in, all the drugs are legal. The only problem is you're on your own.
I think I think we should seriously change our drug laws and our incarceration process. I don't think it does a very good job. I think it's very expensive, and the results aren't all that great. Sadly, actually, one of the stories I've been pursuing behind the scenes has to do with the meth trafficking system that's going through the Montana State Prison, apparently.
Wow.
I have some firsthand accounts about this. I don't know if it's why the warden was fired recently of the Montana State Prison, but he's no longer there.
Yeah.
And other people, including legislators, don't know why he was fired. I've heard from people on the inside, and that's one of the things, too, is that it's so difficult to keep this stuff out. We had, not too long ago, I think it was meth or heroin smuggled into the Missoula County Jail.
Right. It was heroin.
And it is sick and disgusting, and there's so many problems with it. But throwing these individuals into a jail cell doesn't cure them. When they get out, so many times they just go right back to it.
Exactly.
There needs to be some kind of treatment.
Well, let's get
beyond jail.
Let's get Pat on the line. Good morning, Pat. You're on Talkback. Hi.
I just wanted to make a comment about the Good Morning Joe program. I thought it was very ironic that by default, Mika ends up defending Donald Trump by discrediting the...
No, she was actually defending Nikki Haley.
Well, I understand. I'm saying by default.
Right, yeah.
Ended up defending Trump because, I guess it's a sin to smear a woman, but it's not a sin to smear a man. So anything that he says about Donald Trump, they don't mention. But if it mentions someone that is within a protected group, then they'll rally to that person's defense. But if you're a white male, you're fair game.
Or if you're Donald Trump, you're fair game. Yeah.
Correct.
But I just thought
it was kind of an ironic twist that that particular venue ended up defending by default.
Can I ask you a question on this one?
Sure.
So it seems to me Nikki Haley is much more worthy of defense when it comes to infidelity than Donald Trump, on account that there is no evidence for her having ever been unfaithful to her spouse. On Donald Trump's case, though, you have multiple accounts self-professed of quite the opposite. I find it a lot easier to believe that Donald Trump would do something like that based on his history.
Well, I guess you're entitled to your opinion.
But I mean, you've seen the same stuff too. And you'd always been married 3 times. You heard what he said on the bus.
Life, okay. In everyone's life, there have been moments that you're proud of and moments that you're not proud of. And I think that as a person who supports Donald Trump, I can make a dichotomy in my mind between what may have happened in his life X amount of years ago, as opposed to what may be going on in his performance as president of the United States.
I think that's a responsible decision to make. You should make that delineation.
And we're overdue for a break. We appreciate your call. Thank you.
All right, bye now.
Thank you. And JR, we're going to get you on in 1 minute. This is a 60-second timeout. Give us a call. Lines are open. It's open phones, 721-1290.
it's just really hard for me to like hear people like, oh yeah, Trump's never done anything ever, and it's like so clearly been a cad most of his life. Maybe he's made a big change in his behavior recently, but the evidence for him doing this sort of stuff over and over and over again is pretty clear. Thanks for calling KGVO. This is John. Hey, what's your first name? Yeah, we'll beat you right on.
All right, we are rocking on. Talk back on this Friday. 721-1290 is our number, 1-800-568-5309. And you can also make your comments on our Facebook page. Okay, we have 3 lines going here and not a whole lot of time. So did you want to wrap up your comment?
I would say
I'm sorry, go ahead.
I was just going to say it looks like the memo, the much talked about memo.
Yeah, but we can't find it.
But I can't find it yet. So
and John is the master of the internet, so if he can't find it, I sure can. All right, JR, you're on Talkback. Hi.
Yeah, I'm sure you guys probably talked about the State of the Union address earlier in the week.
A little bit, yeah.
As I watched it, the Congressional Black Caucus, they looked like they had walked into a David Duke meeting and they couldn't leave, the looks on their face. And Nancy Pelosi, she kind of looked like she swallowed a small baby porcupine and was trying to get it out. The facial expression she was making was ridiculous.
I know. But you know what? But you know what? President Obama was doing his State of the Union address.
Yeah.
And the Republicans would sit there stone-faced. I mean, it was,
since we're on this topic, so this is really interesting, I thought. So CBS had and YouGov, they did a poll that they never showed on TV.
All right.
So the poll was about response to the State of the Union address, and they never ran it on screen. And the reason why, you might find out here shortly. So they did release it in a very short 17-second clip on their online feed during kind of like a live broadcast online, but not on their actual TV representation.
Right.
So the poll found that 97% of Republicans approved of Trump's State of the Union. 72% of independents approved of the State of the Union.
Wow.
The thing that was really shocking, though, is 43% of Democrats approved of the State of the Union address.
Yeah, Rush was saying that the day after the deal. Did you want me to play this?
Yeah.
No, that's okay.
Okay, all right.
I think you got the hint.
Hello?
Go ahead.
Yeah, and Sarah Sanders, she's the spokesman for the press spokesman. Anyway, she said, I'll read it. Pelosi, Schumer, and Democrats have made a big decision about whether they will continue to let their hatred of Trump get in the way of getting things done. They need to decide, do they love America more than they hate this president? And are they willing to put some of those differences aside, come together, and do what's right for America? And I think that pretty much sums it up.
All right. Thanks for the call.
Thanks.
Appreciate it. All right, Jim, you're on Talkback. Hi.
Oh, morning.
Good morning, sir. What's on your mind?
I just got a notice from a political action group that somebody in the state of Montana is going to try to make the state of Montana a sanctuary state. Have you guys heard anything on this?
Yeah, it's BS.
Okay, so it is true.
No, I don't believe it.
Well, somebody may be trying, but it may not actually happen.
I know that the mayor was asked if he would make Missoula a sanctuary city, and even he said that maybe we'll consider it a later date. I mean, like, he wasn't forward about it. I mean, it's not something I don't think that's on anyone's agenda right now.
Okay, just didn't see anything in the radar, so just wanted to put something on the radar here.
Well, we sure appreciate it. Thanks for the call.
Sure.
All right, thanks so much. 721-1290. We have exactly 2.5 minutes.
By the way, the memo is released. I actually have parts of it in front of me.
Go.
Let's get a caller.
Okay, all right.
People will hear it.
Jim, go ahead quickly. What's on your mind?
Yeah. Hey, I just wanted to take off on John's point when you asked him if we made drugs legal and then everybody's on their own. Well, then you get that bleeding heart John and his friends. They're never going to have to accept responsibility for their drug use. Yet for some reason, we didn't stand on their throats and force it down their throats. So you got to get tough with it, or you're always going to have the problem.
All right. Thanks for the call. All right. So
I don't disagree with getting tough on drugs.
Yeah.
I just think that the process we're using to get tough on drugs is not helping at all.
Yeah.
We're spending a lot more money than we possibly could be with another method.
Yeah. Go ahead. So
anyway,
we have 2 minutes.
I'll just read some of the highlights from. Here's some of this is from Byron York in the Washington Examiner. The House Intelligence Committee has released its controversial memo outlining abuses of the surveillance by the FBI and Justice Department in the Trump-Russia investigation. Here are some of the key points. Number one, the Steele dossier formed an essential part of the initial and all 3 renewal FISA applications against Carter Page. Number two, Andrew McCabe confirmed that no FISA warrant would have been sought from the FISA court without the Steele dossier information. Number three, the political origins of the Steele dossier were known to senior Department of Justice and FBI officials, but excluded from the FISA application.
Okay.
Number four, DOJ official Bruce Orr met with Steele beginning in the summer of 2016 and relayed to the Department of Justice information about Steele's biases. Steele told Orr that he, Steele, was desperate that Donald Trump not be elected president and was passionate about him not becoming president. The FBI and Justice Departments mounted a months-long effort to keep the information outlined in the memo out of the House Intelligence Committee's hands. Yada, yada, it goes on. Real quick, the FISA court was formed to prevent the federal government, the executive branch, using the FBI to target political opponents.
Oops. Yeah.
Under Nixon.
A little bit too late
A
now.
bunch of Democrats, headed by President Carter, were the ones that put this into place.
Right. So we'll see what kind of impact this has over the weekend. And by the way, do you have any predictions of who's going to win the Super Bowl? 10 seconds.
The Octopi.
The Oslo Octopi. I love
Oslo,
it.
yeah.
All right. You guys have a great weekend. We will see you Monday.